You're tuned into the Growth Ceilings podcast, the show for builders, dreamers, and leaders ready to break limits and grow beyond what they thought possible.
Welcome to the Growth Ceilings podcast. I'm your host, Jim Lovelady, professional EOS implementer. EOS is the entrepreneurial operating system. This show is about real conversations with leaders who bring clarity to complex challenges and help organizations operate with confidence. Today, I'm joined by Piyanka Jain, CEO of AskEnola.ai and founder of A-Ring. Piyanka is a global leader in analytics, decision science, and AI adoption, helping organizations turn data into confident, profitable decisions. Piyanka, welcome to the Growth Ceilings podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
Piyanka, what problem led you to build AskEnola?
Glad you asked. I think to answer that question, I'll have to share a little bit about my journey. So I was, like many immigrants, I was born in India. I did my bachelor's of engineering in India, in Delhi, and then I came here for my PhD. I ended up doing 2 masters, computer engineering and land engineering. But my work was always mathematics, statistics, applied algorithms. That was of interest for me. So I built my first AI model in 2002. You can believe what it might look like at that point. And then ever since then, I've been in this field of what I realized why I didn't complete my PhDs in spite of my advisors like loving what I was doing and I'm loving them. But I just like, I can't do this because I realized I'm really applied. I need to see results. And while I love algorithms and while I'm creating new models here, I still need to see applications. So that's when I started work with companies like Adobe and PayPal. I started seeing the application of all of these advanced methodologies, computational simulation, algorithms, whether it's linear programming or anything else, application of that in the real world, which was exciting for me. And then I started my company, a consulting company, A-Ring, and we did a lot of work, kind of like you, Jim. For the consulting work, we were mostly consulting with mid-cap, high-growth companies, building solutions as complex as for the ATM, predicting how much cash to load in every ATM, or something simple as, build me dashboards or doing ETL, and then also doing a whole bit of data literacy work. What I recognize, and we've been at it for 14 years and a consulting company still working, what I'm recognizing is that the distance or the space or the time between an executive asking a question because they need to make a decision. For example, Jim, you being in sales and business development, you might ask, why is my closed loss for last quarter $3 million? What's driving that closed loss of $3 million? And lo and behold, somebody will take that from you. If you're lucky and you have an analyst listening to you because you're an executive, somebody would take that request and wrangle the data, take 3 or 4 weeks, maybe sometimes more, and then get you an answer like, listen, what happened was these were the top reasons or whatever mostly happened in, mostly it was a problem was only in Midwest, blah, blah, blah. But by the time they get to this answer, Jim, being Jim, needs to act fast, already acted based on his gut. So the distance between when you ask a question and when you get the data supporting that the decision you need to make is long. What if we could bring it to same day? So I started AskEnola as with an aspiration that can I give executives and people who are making decisions at these mid-cap companies or enterprise who are wanting to ask questions like that, can I give them an ability to interact with something that can give them instant answers? And we have been able to do it. You interact with AskEnola, and Jim, you will ask them questions, and Jim, he will ask you questions back. Between the two of you, grain all the context, and boom, when you say, I'm happy with your understanding of my problem, all the context that I've transferred to you, you run analysis, and within a few minutes, you have the answer, which an analyst would have taken 200 minutes. That's why I started asking.
Excellent. Thank you for that explanation. So I've got a lot of different directions we can go in, and I am going to move it a couple different ways here. How does AI change the role of analysts and executives?
Specifically for AskEnola, and then I can go general because we also build agentic models for other companies as part of A-Ring. At AskEnola, if people start using AskEnola, the analysts get 100 requests, let's say a quarter. One analyst gets like 100 requests. Out of them, they can't get to 97. Maybe they get to 3. Now, because they have AskEnola, the end users have AskEnola, all 100 of them, or maybe 1,000 of them can be answered Where the analysts show up is when you go down deeper in details and context, which is beyond what's in your data or what's directly in your data. That's when your executives would go in and tell the analyst, listen, this is a level 2, level 3, level 4 analysis. And now the analysts actually have bandwidth because they're not spending time doing level 1, 2, 3 analysis. Now the analyst can go and build a predictive model for one closed, right? Sorry, closed loss of why these, what is, can you predict as the things come in? Can you predict this transaction or this deal is already going to be lost? And can you actually, because your prediction score, you build that predictive model, you have the score as high, you're not even going to have your salespeople work on this, right? So that's where people are going to be using AskEnola, are going to be using AskEnola. AI in general, there's so much opportunity for organizations to use AI in these processes. How we did AskEnola is we built AI AskEnola as a agentic step by step. So we took an analyst process, we broke it down into 200 steps, and each of those 200 steps are agents in our system. So if you can think of an analytics or an analyst workflow and how we have reduced that from 200 hours to 2 minutes, you can imagine the opportunities which exist and sophisticated solutions exist. If you're willing to spend time and energy on this, you can actually take many of these 200 hours that people are spending and convert it into or turn it into 2 minutes.
So, in reading more about your background and what you've done, you've got it's, I don't know how it's pronounced, the acronym ADIR.
Yeah,
It's your framework, right?
that's right.
How does that help cut through the analytics noise?
That's exactly. So BADIR is what's powering Enola as well. So when we are doing consulting work and we are best in class and we are very fast to data to decision because we have BADIR. And the same framework Enola uses to get context. So B stands for business question, analysis plan is A, D is data collection. So you imagine data to decisions, but data is step number 3. First 2 steps are just framing what's in Jim's mind. If I'm going to solve this question, and Jim has this question of why is my close one or close loss so high, he has something going on, right? Like what decisions are you ready to make, Jim? What are your concerns? Did something change? All that context that Enola or any other system should build is BADIR. And then also doing insights or making recommendations, not in a spray and pray. Like a lot of analysts who have not been trained well with the discipline of analytics, they just apply any algorithm and hope the results will come. You have to be systematic. If you're systematic, you're fast. If you're hypothesis driven, you're fast. And you get results very quickly. You can get to Jim as quickly as possible, and then you can do a long tail analysis after. So that's what BADIR does. It accelerates the process of getting to decisions fast and fail faster too.
Correct me again for the audience listening to this. BADIR, BADIR, that's the framework, correct?
And that's also published in my book, Behind Every Good Decision.
Perfect. So staying that theme, why do so many data initiatives fail to change decisions?
Many reasons. One of the big reasons is there is data is growing very fast. There is so many sources of the same truth. And what happens is and especially like you think about mid-cap, high growth companies, VC funded, PE funded companies, you need a sales orchestration, you get Salesforce. Then your marketing system gets automated. You have Mixpanel tracking it. You have HubSpot tracking it. You have some ERP system, maybe Chargeify, Chargebee. And then you have a customer support system. You have Intercom. You can imagine, I just named 4 or 5. You can imagine most mid-cap 500 to 700 people organizations we work with on the consulting side, they have between 20 and 25 systems which are generating data that end users, that business decision makers need to use to make decisions. If you don't do proper architecture, ETL, design of that information, what happens is it's all just dumped somewhere. Somebody's downloading something within G Sheet or Excel, trying to merge it with something else. And then you keep creating, and nobody deletes anything. So there's multiple copies of the same thing from different direction, right? Like you have your sales done from Salesforce. Then the ERP fills you on a different number. And you're like, no, this customer pay, the subscription cost, whatever else, is $60K or the monthly ARR. When you go against the ERP, wait a minute, I am only seeing 45, what happened? All of that reconciliation. So that's a big challenge. Multiple sources, see data, and nobody knows where the truth is. So unless people invest their time in building single source of truth, it's a big, big issue. That's one big problem that's happening. Enola does solve for it. Enola creates automatic semantic layer so that, and again, we're not boiling the ocean. We are very hypothesis driven. So you might have 10,000 columns of data somewhere there. We are not going to worry about 10,000 columns of data. We are interested in your top 100 columns, your top 100 metrics, top 200 metrics. And we're going to go after that and make that goal solid. So that when Jim looks at that data and when the CEO looks at that data or anybody else looks at their data, all is matching. So that's one way we are solving it. That's one problem. The other one is this time that it takes, right? By that time, Jim has already made decisions. Somebody else has, like the executive has already made a decision. The data is coming late. It's kind of always playing a catch up. And so thereby, you have so many dashboards that get built. Nobody uses it because the expectation is that somebody asked a question, like we build your dashboard because you have this question over and over, but the requirements keep changing and the dashboards have more metrics than the number of users. And so, yeah, I was talking to a very, very large fintech here. I mean, we all know it by name. They are behind many of the banks. And he was mentioning the senior VP of on the data side. He was mentioning we have on an average 1,000 dashboards that we manually create for every bank we service, and then the request never stops. We keep creating more and more and more dashboard, and then the answer to what's not in the one dashboard is the second dashboard, and we don't even know if what gets used, if ever. But the requirement never stops. Request for give me this dashboard, big dashboard, it never stops. So it's crazy.
I'm glad you brought up and referenced dashboards, and you mentioned the problem, whether or not they're used or if they're even viewed. Where do leaders misuse dashboards in your perspective?
I think the world where we are going, dashboard almost, and we have, by the way, Jim, where I come from, we built enough dashboards to last a lifetime for customers. And that too, because we are very focused, we build only high value dashboards, meaning we curate it, we ask the right questions to all the stakeholders, make sure all the right metrics are there. And still it's dynamic in nature. So dashboard seems like it should be like, once you've given me a requirement, it's there, it's done, it's standardized. Problem is the business is moving. So what Jim's question was yesterday is no more 2 days later. So I think the future is not going to be static dashboard. Future is going to be, I need to converse with something which gives me answer at this point of time and understands my context, by the way, intelligent answer, not a general LLM answer. A deeply contextual answer somebody understands my pain, my concern, my role, and gives me contextual answer. And I get what I need today, same day decision. And then tomorrow I have a different question. And it's a nuance of that. Or I go back to the same analysis and say, listen, I have one more hypothesis. We didn't test it. I believe all the people who are on the automotive industry mostly we are not a fit. We are actually still doing campaigns against it. We are not a fit. That makes up most of the closed loss, right? We can do something about it.
So tell me, what does decision-ready data actually look like?
Decision-ready data looks like it's structured, it's well architected. It has a proper data model, physical model, schematics in there. It's governed, right? So that's what it looks like. It also doesn't look like a million columns and duplicates. Everything has many, many versions. I can't tell you how many conversations I have, Jim, where I tell the finance leader and the product leader and the marketing leader, guys, you'll have to agree on one definition of revenue. If you keep having multiple definitions of revenue, your teams will keep spending time trying to reconcile it and scratching their brain. And how much time does it go in it? I understand why finance needs this. I understand why product needs this. I understand why marketing sees it this way. Can you all get together and agree, all compromise, agree on one definition? I can't tell you how much just that one decision will help you. And probably keep preaching to the choir here, Jim, because your process that you talk about. But yeah, it's needed. You need to actually bring that discipline within the leadership to start understanding that if you don't have your definitions aligned, you don't have one way of looking at the world, it's going to keep spending, you're going to just keep spending the hamster on the wheel. Just go ahead. That's fine. If you want to waste your team's time, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, we say in EOS, if you have two operating systems, you have none. And what I'm really describing is you do it your way, or your experience was this. I come from another experience, I bring that. And then a third person in the mix has yet another version of how things are either defined, described, or done. And getting everybody on the same page, operating in one single business operating system, has such a positive impact on the business and enables you to move forward. So when we're talking about data-driven decision making and all the complexities you're involved with, that having that single operating system is so powerful.
We call it single source of truth. And if folks of your listeners want to look it up, they can find. If you Google my name, Piyanka Jain, and single source of truth, I've shared all my recipe on how you get it, what you need to say to what leader in your organization to get it right. So yeah.
So that kind of leads my next question is, what skills will leaders need as AI accelerates?
Yeah, I mean, right now there's a lot of craziness in the market, Jim, on AI. I think what I'm seeing in the enterprises that they're under executives under huge pressure to test out every AI tool which is out there. 85% of them is bullshit and garbage. And so you lose the 10% or 5%, which are good, right? Because there's so much garbage, so much noise. In fact, whoever has the biggest marketing arm is going to be able to get you to do trial of their product, but ultimately it doesn't serve the purpose. And then, you still have, interestingly, I had a meeting with Microsoft today because our back model is on the Microsoft, supported on the Microsoft, it's built on Microsoft Foundry, and so the Microsoft Marketplace guy is on the call with me, and he said, your application is stuck. I said, yeah. Then he guides me how to use the AI system to basically submit a request, and I'm thinking, wow, whoever sold them this AI or whatever internal thing said, use this AI thing that will save you time. And actually, it's my time, his time, which are two humans, and the AI on top of it for us to do that same thing. So anyway, point being that there's a lot of noise out there. So I'm not jealous of any executive sitting in that hot seat trying to figure out where to go, because especially they don't have the advantage that I have in terms of understanding really signal from noise here. And then the other thing I'm seeing for mid-cap executives is that, again, there is a huge want and desire to use AI themselves. Like CEOs of most mid-cap companies, 500, 700 people, they are reading up stuff and they're telling their CEO or whoever, listen, we should be bringing this in, or we should be doing this. The challenge is figuring out that 5%, which is actually useful. I will say there is a chapter in my book called 3 Key Questions. If leaders follow this process of figuring out what they need to solve first, where are the biggest efficiencies, right? So AI can replace, AI can increase productivity, and AI can accelerate. These are the 3 applications that you have. If you can figure out within your business system first, like, let's say you're a B2B SaaS company, and your profit is or growth is your top metric. What drives growth in first level? What drives those metrics in second level? Figure that to 10th level. I call it KPI tree. You figure that out, and then figure out where the biggest misses are. Like, where are the biggest opportunities for you to do either the 3 I talked about, right? And then figure out the sizing of it. Then go looking for point solution. Like, this is what's happening. For example, in AskEnola case, maybe you are saying, we have an analytics team of 10. Our cost is $1 million per year, and the ROI from that team is blah. Can I get more ROI from the same 10 people? Because now I have an accelerated like AskEnola, which takes most of the level 1, 2, 3 questions. And then the level 4 is where these 10 people spend their time. Let's just imagine, like, now, if they were driving, reasonably speaking, $10 million, $100 million, like $10 million in impact, now this team is going to be driving 40 million impact. Now you say, okay, I have a use case to potentially gain 40 million in efficiency or save this much money. That's how you need to do analysis versus randomly taking in anybody who's coming and saying yet another. And by the way, Jim, I'm going to be soon starting a podcast called Yet Another Podcast because, well, we can't have enough of it, right? And I'm going to be talking about some of these topics, like what do you do in this market as it stands today?
So you mentioned your book a few moments ago, and maybe I failed to mention it in the intro. The book is called Behind Every Good Decision. Do you have a copy? Oh, God bless you. Look at that. That's great.
This is Behind Every Good
Good
Decision.
decision. Say that
Yes,
again?
Behind Every Good Decision. It was published in 2014, and yeah, I'm still getting my royalty checks. It's still an Amazon bestseller, so I'm I'm grateful. People are reading it. There's some good nuggets because it's framework. There's a lot of good nuggets in there still, which is relevant. I haven't been able to add chapters as I would have liked to, but maybe there's another book at some point.
And perhaps there are podcasts. And so my question to you is, what was the inspiration for writing that book?
Just say I got cornered by my students. We were running large scale, large projects, large scale data literacy boot camps for public as well as, enterprises. And we kept hearing this over and over, like your content is so great. If wish you had a deeper descriptive manual, different learners learn different way. Couple of professors actually, there was a 5-day boot camp. I remember it was in Santa Clara. And they kept coming every day. At the end of every day, the 2 professors would walk in and like, oh no, here you go. They were in the audience in the boot camp. They kept like, this is so easy, Piyanka. You can totally do a book. You need to do a book. My students need a book. I had too much of a book. And then Wiley reached out at the same time and a couple other publications saying, do you want to write a book? I'm like, okay, everybody's talking a book. Might as well write a book. It was a lot of work. These days, probably we won't take that much effort, but that time, back in 2014, 2013, when we wrote the book, Puneet was amazing. My co-author, I know him from PayPal days. He's also a co-creator of BADIR framework. So he and I are very much in alignment. So it was a fun process, but it was also like really like more, it takes a lot more time than you think it will take. Because you're like, I know whatever I know, I'm just going to write it. But like now you have to write it in a way that people can understand it. It's work.
Excellent. Okay, so how do organizations build data literacy at scale?
I said this question differently 2 years ago. In today's market, data literacy is a mindset. And I think curiosity and the willingness to learn is all you need. We still have courses on airing.com. You can go to Academy. And I don't think courses are the way to do it. The world is changing so rapidly. I would just say build it to learn it. Yes, frameworks are good. I'm sure, Jim, you read books. I listen to books all the time. I'm right now reading Snow, Let It Snow by the Snowflake people. I think it's good to learn frameworks, mental frameworks. Again, you don't need to do courses. You can read books and you can, ask questions to LLM and listen to podcasts. But ultimately, it's all about doing to learning these days. So for example, if somebody asks me, listen, I want to know vibe coding, which is a good course? No, there is no course. You open whatever chat GPT you like, Gemini 3, Cloud Code, whatever, and start asking the question. This is my application that I'm building. Help me build it. And just follow step by step. And they'll tell you a step. For example, you need to connect to application. It'll say, open Zapier, connect this and this. You do that. You start building your understanding. Oh, this is how the 2 systems talk. There's an application API call, an API response. And, you just have to do to understand, to build literacy these days. I would almost say critical thinking, ability to think of your problem and break it down into smaller pieces is the most important skill in today's world. Much more than, do you know how to write a certain piece of Python code? Doesn't matter if you don't know that. If you can just explain it in English,
Yes.
but in a structured way, you got it.
Great advice. And I'll get you out of here on this. What, if any, other advice would you give leaders who may be feeling overwhelmed by data?
Yeah, spend time. Data is a currency. Data is an asset. Treat it as such. But not every solution out there, certain vendors out there are the right ones. So I would say start from within your organization and figure out the use cases first, and then do a point search to figure out whether that solution exists externally and if somebody can do it. Also, I would say that they go beyond marketing. There's just so much marketing happening. Talk to the people who are building that system before you buy any system. those are the people who know what that system really can and cannot do. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Well, Piyanka, this has been a very, very powerful conversation. You've shown how AI and analytics only create value when they support better decisions, not more reports. Your work gives leaders a clearer path to confidence and action. For listeners who want to learn more, you can visit AskEnola.ai. You can connect with Piyanka on LinkedIn, or you can explore her book, Behind Every Good Decision. Thank you for joining me today, and thanks to everyone listening for being part of the Growth Ceilings community. Until next time, keep growing, keep leading, and keep breaking through. Thank you very much.
You've been watching the Growth Ceilings podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's ready to grow.